President Trump has implemented reciprocal tariffs for many countries around the world. So, will nations respond with threats of retaliation or calls for negotiation? I'm Veronica Dudo. Let's find out.
This is In America Today from the Ticker News Studios in New York City.
President Donald Trump's sweeping new tariffs are sending shockwaves through global markets as world leaders react to the administration's latest trade policy. The White House has imposed a flat 10% tariff on nearly all imports, while certain nations, including Vietnam and China, face even steeper penalties. China, in particular, was hit with a combined 54% tariff, escalating tensions between the world's two largest economies. Meanwhile, the European Union has vowed to retaliate as its industries brace for the impact of new U.S. trade restrictions. Here's President Trump discussing his Liberation Day agenda.
In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get any simpler than that. This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt, and it'll all happen very quickly. With today's action, we are finally going to be able to make America great again, greater than ever before.
For more, I'm joined by Ryan Hunt, the founder of Mountain Up Cap Company. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Veronica. I'm really happy to be here today to talk to you.
So we have heard from candidate Trump, and then, of course, now as President Trump, this is something he has really been steadfast in wanting to implement. Of course, he made April 2nd, the day that he was going to sign that executive order for the reciprocal tariffs. So could you talk a little bit about looking at this situation and what you think the goal of the Trump administration implementing these reciprocal tariffs could be?
Yeah, for sure, Veronica. So at least he didn't announce it on April 1st, which would have been April Fool's Day. But I think the intent of it is a reset of our economics, a reset of our government, and a reset of those partnerships that we've established over, at least the last 70 to 80 years. I think since the 1930s is the last time we really reset the tariffs. So I think that's the intent. It will have an impact, especially on smaller businesses such as mine initially, as we try to figure out how to adjust how we're doing business in the background. Not everything is made in America, so we're going to have to look for ways of sourcing stuff within the United States, which could be difficult and costly for sure.
Now, what are your initial thoughts? Obviously, you are a small business owner trying to kind of navigate this new world that you're living in terms of, trying to make a profit for your business.
For sure. So I've already spoken to some of my suppliers that are located outside the United States, and they're definitely looking to raise their prices as their costs of doing business are starting to rise up. So, for example, there are some products that we do source from China. So we do have some partners that are in China, and they are already giving us the heads up and have been actually since January that prices were going to be on the rise. And they have. They've risen up. The cost has definitely increased.
Now, it's fascinating to watch because we are getting mixed reactions. The European Union, they are vowing to retaliate. Meanwhile, we are hearing other countries like Canada a little bit more friendly, talking about trying to negotiate. How long do you think we might be in this sort of gray area in terms of what's going to happen next?
I think this it's kind of like two peacocks dancing, and I think this is going to go on for at least the next uh, 90 to 180 days for sure, as we watch countries try to react to what the President Trump is doing and trying to figure out how are we going to negotiate this for good terms for both the United States and also for each of those countries. In some cases, it may not work out, and it may have a negative impact not only on our country but globally.
You are, of course, an American citizen and an American business owner. What impact do you think these tariffs could have on American consumers and businesses?
Well, as I mentioned, if my cost of doing business starts to raise up, so if it costs now a couple more dollars to make a hat, for example, if we're not making it in the United States, we're sourcing it from other countries, then those costs potentially could be passed on to our customers. If not, I mean, we could definitely see some negative impact to how we're doing business and to our bottom line, our profitability, and being able to sustain our business for sure. And I think a lot of small businesses, especially e-commerce websites that are out there, are going to start feeling that impact, especially if this draws on more than 90 days, 180 days, and beyond that. That it could definitely have a negative impact on American-based e-commerces.
Now, we have heard a little bit about dealing with some short-term pain for more, longer-range gains, talking about trying to bring some jobs to the United States. Additionally, making pharmaceuticals. It's something that, we have heard the president talk about, that he wants the United States to be less reliant on other countries. You're really, right there in the crosshairs of being a small business, trying to navigate. We talked a little bit about moving forward with these tariffs. What do you think about trying to have some of this happen back here in the United States, and at the same time, though, seeing that this could have an impact on your business?
For sure. I would prefer if we can definitely make things here in the United States. I think that's the best case scenario. However, I think that's going to take some time. And again, especially initially, the costs of doing business are going to rise. There's no way around that. So let's say a hat, and I'll just let everyone know, making a hat overseas, let's just put a price on it, maybe is $5 here in the United States. That might cost $15 or $20 to make a single hat. So when you're looking at hats that might cost $24, now you're paying $40 or $50 for a hat. That's significant. That's going to have an impact, obviously, with the consumers, but just the production and putting the equipment in place that's going to be required to make those hats by hand is expensive. And then where do you get the textiles too? Those are also going to have to be either imported again, which is a tariff, or are these tech being made in the United States?
What's your message to either consumers and or politicians who have a hand in this?
For politicians, I would say let's just be deliberate on how we're doing things. I understand that we're in a reset of the United States here. At least we're under President Trump. I think there's some good things could come out of it. But again, we have to be deliberate. We have to be thoughtful of how that is going to impact the lower levels, the small businesses that are out there. And if we can do that, I think it'll be helpful indeed. And then for consumers and for everyone in the United States, you vote, you have an opportunity to vote. So you do vote with your heart and vote with your mind on what you want to accomplish and what you believe the best person will be to move the country forward.
Ryan Hunt, thank you so much for telling us more about what you're dealing with as a small business owner, and of course, discussing this timely topic.
Thank you, Veronica. I appreciate you. Anytime.
This is Ticker. We'll be right back.